What's going on, guys? Mini Call here, coming at you with another video. This is essentially going to be my thoughts and essentially testing of the PymPlane PymTech team in Dark Dimension and how viable I think this team is. As from that quick little roster selection, the only Pym member I am actually missing is going to be Wasp. I did sub her out for Minerva. So going in with this team, first and foremost, I am going to say it is a very viable option for Dark Dimension 2. I would imagine that this team would function very similar in Dark Dimension 3 and beyond. So very happy in that regards. Certainly I'm not feeling like I am wasting any resources, which is always a plus. So going in, kind of some things that this team really has and is really kind of unique, I would say, to this game is they are very control-based, where you do have the option to control a lot of what the enemy is going to be able to do. In regards, there is, a lot of slow mechanics. There are ability blocks, stealing positive buffs from the enemy, adding debuffs to the enemy, and whatnot. If I had Wasp, she also adds in the addition of a stun component, which, that certainly is another great form of control. And just, I guess, kind of the old school WoW mentality of my head of, CC, crowd control. So just kind of going in with this, I was really just kind of playing around with the team and how they would perform. So I did this at 3 speed just to kind of keep things kind of zipping along a little bit. So, when I was looking at this fight initially, I am looking at things like with Hand Sentry, it can be really annoying with him stealthing everyone. So you kind of have 2 options. You can do the ability block with AntMan, which is going to do the ability block for 2 whole turns. And while he is ability blocked and unable to stealth, you are then able to slowly kind of get him down. And a combination of, with Ghost being my striker and those vulnerables being applied, she's basically doing that minus 25% to his speed bar every attack. And when she's just doing her basic attack, you'll see she really just kind of like nukes the enemy's speed bar. Going into that, after that, I wanted to get rid of the Ant-Men and the Wasps, as their dodges can be pretty annoying. Now, keep in mind, my Yellow Jacket is still only 2 stars, so he is still pretty weak. With the upcoming Blitz, I will certainly get him a lot higher, and he should be able to perform a lot better as far as his damage. Now, with the enemies that just did currently drop, I'm looking at a Thor as well as a Rocket Raccoon, and I don't want Rocket Raccoon being able to do his special or his ultimate. So you'll notice I ability blocked him with Ant-Man, so he's ability blocked for 2 turns. And I should actually be able to get him down probably pretty quickly. So you notice there I just did Stature's ultimate, and that's going to keep this team kind of getting their energy. And one thing I was really noticing as I was doing this fight, and mind you, this is quite a long fight, it's 28 enemies, but one thing I was really noticing is with all the dodges and the defenses up and, all that stuff, with Stature being a Fortifier, she really kind of keeps that barrier up, and I honestly didn't see my team really taking any damage. I wasn't worried about anyone nearly dying. Some of this might have to do with Minerva being there, and every time something is dying, she is healing, as well as Ghost with her own heals. So I'll be curious to see, how this team functions with Wasp versus Minerva. But so I got rid of Rocket Raccoon. So my next target was going to be Thor, and I was able to take him out pretty quickly. Just did Yellow Jacket's ultimate. He killed a target, so then he attacks the second time. It's really kind of just this explosive amount of damage, and in Dark Dimension, he's doing more damage with that. So he is basically a mini Phoenix in the regards where he can just really nuke down the enemies, and nowhere near, obviously, the challenging requirements that it does take to unlock Phoenix. At this point with the field, really no strong attacks. So I was just kind of working on the Luke Cages just because they do currently have the taunt. You're noticing that pretty much every time someone attacks, there's always an assist, whether it is Ant-Man or Yellow Jacket. So there are a lot of vulnerables on the field, which certainly helps with Ghost and her needing to basically nuke the enemy's speed bar. So pretty much anytime, Ghost is attacking, if that enemy has vulnerable, regardless of whatever type of attack she's doing, they are still losing some speed buff. Yellow Jacket himself, like I said, he does a lot of damage, even at his baby 2-star form. And, his self-healing ability is really kind of cool. So again, we have Stature going again with her ultimate just to kind of get some energy back up. I ability blocked Wolverine just because, I don't want him doing his ultimate. Stole some health right there. And this team may certainly not be the fastest as far as, they're not putting out this like insane amount of damage, but they have the sustain. And truthfully, Dark Dimension is really more so about the sustain than the straight damage. So now that I've got these 2 Rocket Raccoons on the field, as well as this Star-Lord, I want to get those Rocket Raccoons out of here as quickly as possible. I don't want them doing their specials or their ults. So I'm doing what I can to kind of stop that. I tried to do a slow, let's actually go back. I think I tried to finish them off with Yellow Jacket's ultimate. It didn't kill the Rocket Raccoon like I was hoping, but still not too worried about it. I'm going to switch targets now to the other Rocket Raccoon, start bringing him down. And, it's really kind of amazing to me just how this team is basically taking no damage, regardless of the enemy going, which is really kind of cool, and I think it's definitely very unique. This team isn't really very built up on Khaleesi, and, this is really, I think, a kind of a good new player team to be able to handle Dark Dimension, especially Dark Dimension 2. Would certainly be curious to see how they perform in Dark Dimension 3. I am a little bit of a ways from that because the characters would need to be at Gear Tier 14 for that, which I am slowly working towards. This Dark Dimension 2 test is really just kind of proving to me that this team is able to handle it. It's certainly a different play style where you are kind of more just kind of slowly getting the enemy down. But I did do 3 fights in Dark Dimension 2, and I did not have a single issue. No one died, no one got low on health, and it was really just kind of a little bit of a walk in a park. Like I said, it was a bit on the longer side, which is kind of normal for Dark Dimension stuff anyway. But this team is really just kind of performing above and beyond my expectations. So now at this point, I've taken out the 3 kind of big damage dealers that were on the field. So again, I'm going to use Stature's ultimate just to kind of keep that energy going. You'll notice there are a bunch of dodges on the field, or evades rather. Even when my team is taking a little bit of damage, between all the healing components that are on the field, they get healed up pretty quickly. Stature is taunting kind of like every other turn. And despite her having all that focus fire on her, you'll see her barrier is still alive and well. I haven't worked too much on the ISOs on Khaleesi, just because I am still working on getting my symbiotes to ISO 8 level 5. So I believe their ISOs are all at level 3. I'm not 100% sure on that. I will certainly let y'all know when I do post this video and I check that out. But yeah, I could only imagine with Stature being at a higher Fortifier, that barrier is almost kind of like impenetrable at this point. You'll notice it'll kind of go down and then boom, it goes right back up, and no one's really taking much damage. Even running into, some of the heavy hitters on this particular node, like the Thors, the Rockets, and the Wolverines, they're able to take them down without them really doing much damage. And even with other characters that are evading a lot, such as, the Ant-Mans and the Wasps on this stage, they're still able managing to do that. Obviously it does take a little bit longer, but this team is really kind of shaping up a lot better than I expected. So I am fully planning now on mini call to go forward building this team. I am still kind of unsure on who I will take into Dark Dimension 2, and it's not necessarily because I'm not sure which team is better. It's just going to be a matter of which team gets to Gear Tier 13 first. But I certainly think the Simboats and the Pym team, the little PymPlane, is cleared for takeoff, I would say, for Dark Dimension. So I think kind of going forward on mini call, depending on who gets to the resources first, will be my Dark Dimension 2 team. But I think on mini call, the PymPlane is cleared to go to Dark Dimension 3. I will do some additional testing on Khaleesi once I'm able to get them up. But from the way the team is performing, I certainly think they're able to handle it. Again, this team is just, really, you do have to play a little bit smarter, I would say, than some other teams. You can't just kind of go in and randomly attack. But they are phenomenal at basically characters that have these great mechanics of stealth or healing. They're really able to stop those characters in their tracks. In one particular Dark Dimension 2 node that I did, it was the one that had the Shield Operative and Nick Fury. And with the Pym team, I was able to basically ability block the operative, and then I was able to nuke her down. While that happened, I was then able to basically slow Nick Fury and then basically wipe Nick Fury out. I do apologize, some little on-screen messages popped up as I was doing this on my phone. But so I mean, it's a really great team in regards to just kind of handling enemy opponents and really just kind of getting them controlled, where all you're really having to deal with is almost like basic attacks. And they've got the survivability and the evades to really be able to handle those basic attacks. And, with Stature kind of building them energy and Yellow Jacket just kind of really doing the DPS, this team really is just kind of really great for Dark Dimension. So I'm going to just kind of wrap things up. If you have any additional questions about the PymPlane, feel free to reach out to me on Discord at Khaleesi, in-game mini call Dracarys or Khaleesi. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. Hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe if you do, and any content you would like to see, feel free to let me know. I'm going to kind of just wrap things up as the fight ends, and but I will say that the PymPlane does have my full endorsement for Dark Dimension 2 and Dark Dimension 3. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.